Lance Hall here for Let's Discuss with Lance Hall. Happy to welcome Roy Cathey of the Fifth to the program tonight. Roy, how you doing?
Lance, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me tonight, buddy.
Absolutely. Zooming in from the all-American city, Fayetteville, North Carolina.
Yes, sir. Home of the 82nd Airborne Special Forces, Green Beret, all-American city. We make people that kill other people.
and they love their rock and roll.
Yes, they do. Fayetteville's always had a reputation of being quite the tough town. And when I grew up in it during the mid to late 80s, it was definitely a rock and roll town. My first concert that I saw was AC/DC Back in Black tour. So,
wow,
yes, sir.
Nice.
Yes.
I didn't get to see them until Flick of the Switch, but it was great,
Yeah, man.
But that's got to be cool, though, because if you pick up fans that are there in the service, your music goes worldwide with them, and that's got to be awesome.
Well, you bring up a great point, Lance, and you're absolutely correct. A lot of these guys, Fayetteville is just a stopping point in their military career. So they'll come here for about 4 years, become personally invested in the band. They'll buy the CDs, they'll buy the T-shirts. And you're absolutely correct. I mean, we've had fans that have gone off and lived all over the country and all over the world, and they hold that memory of the time they were stationed at Fort Bragg and that band that they got shit-faced drunk on the patio or at some event, So we have some great fans and some good memories for people.
That's awesome. Latest EP came out in late September on Vanity Music Group, 5 tracks, killer stuff. The first thing that jumped out at me was the cover art. Love the cover art to this. Whose design was that?
Man, that all goes to the credit of a fantastic artist named Nello Di Alamo out of Naples, Italy, actually. Wow. The guy's from outside of Naples, I believe, but he is from Italy. He is a fantastic artist. He's done several projects for Frontiers Records.
Okay.
I got in touch with him through another project that I'm involved with, and I thought he would be the perfect artist for the new Fifth record.
Awesome. And I also read it took you a long time to get here, but this is like you were calling your perfect lineup. Tell us who's in the band and how it came to be and what makes this one perfect.
Well, the lineup is Gary Zeus Smith on the drums, Jake Tripp on bass guitar, and Justin Womble on guitar. All the guys sing. Mm-hmm. And I would say that, it would be my dream lineup simply because of the chemistry between everyone. Everyone has a chemistry. We all get along. We're all on the same page. It's one of those working experiences where it's truly been a pleasure from day one. But not only that, they're great guys, and they're just stellar musicians. I think Justin Womble is one of the hottest new young guitar players out on the East Coast and on the rock scene right now. And I really think that if you listen to the playing on this record and the songwriting, I think it's a testament of that. But it's about the vibe, Lance, and just this band's got it in spades. And we've got the chemistry, and it feels good on stage, and it feels good in the studio. So it's a good thing.
Very cool. And that, like you mentioned, first off, you said they all sing, which I want to get into your voice in a little bit, but obviously every little bit helps the singer when you got guys that can back you up as well.
Yes, absolutely.
Takes a little bit of the heat off you.
Well, yeah, absolutely. And plus, on this record, we totally wanted to, fully embrace our 80s roots and inspirations and influences. So Justin, the guitar player, was actually the lead vocalist of his other project, a band called Modena. So he's got a strong voice already. Gary, the drummer, is a great background vocalist, and he's sang throughout his career. So, this is the first formation of the Fifth that has this strong amount of musicianship and such great vocals in it. Very cool. If you hear on some of the songs, there's some really sweet 3-part harmonies on Calm Before the Storm. The ballad Home has those big ahs that everybody used to love on those power ballads. So you know, man, it's great to be with such talented musicians.
Awesome. I want to jump into the EP. We'll take it track by track. Sound good?
Sounds good with me, buddy.
Shake Little Sister. I loved the melody on the vocal. And you mentioned Justin's guitar. I mean, that riff is a mother, and that solo is fantastic. I love the way your vocal is melodic, but yet the song has a crunch to it, and it's hard, you know? Perfect blend.
Well, we really, like I said, that's the opening track, the first single, and actually we're getting ready to drop a video for that song. And man, the video is going to be off the chain when you see it. It goes perfectly with the song. But yeah, man, Justin really he smokes on that guitar solo. It sets the tone and the mood for the EP and pretty much the reboot of the band as a whole. So I would say off of the whole EP, Shake Little Sister would probably be my favorite track.
Yeah, I'd have to say it was my favorite as well, although Roll the Bones came close. When are we going to see that video? I've been following it a little bit on your Facebook page and on the band Facebook page. Looked like a lot of fun.
It was a ton of fun. I tell you, Lance, it was the most creatively fulfilling thing that I've ever been involved with. It's the first 2-day shoot that I've done as far as music videos are concerned. We worked with a great director, Jaden Frost. We should have it out. We're looking at probably somewhere between November 25th or probably somewhere, not November, October. I was kicking around with our management about maybe doing it on Halloween, but we might do it somewhere around October the 25th somewhere. We're looking for the last edit to come back on Tuesday, and then we'll hype it for about a week and then get it out to the masses, and it's killer.
Cool. Track 2, Calm Before the Storm. This track and on the intro was, to my ears, and this is to my ears, you know, almost priest-like, almost sounded like a Judas Priest opening, you know, but then it sort of goes off into, all I can say is it's your own. I could find nobody that I could really compare it to. I'm like, who does this sound like? And I'm like, once you get past the priest bit on the intro, it's like total original to my ears.
Well, thank you very much. You know, in this day and age when the wheel has been reinvented, I don't know how many times, you know, I take that as the biggest compliment I've heard in many, many years. And the priest compliment is also very, very well received because, you know, Rob Halford is in my, you know, top 3 of favorite singers of all time. And I just saw him a couple of weeks ago, and he was absolutely phenomenal at 70 years old, still doing it.
Yeah.
So I do appreciate that one, and I really I like Calm Before the Storm a lot because I think that shows the band's talent and texture. You know, we've got a lot. We've got the acoustic guitars in there. We've got the really sweet vocal harmonies. It's so funny because, you know, when it goes into that pre-chorus, it reminds me of the Little River Band if they were a heavy metal band.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You
know,
I
get it.
And I know that little part where we have that sweet harmony on it. It's like, oh my God, it's like the Little River Band if it's flowing with molten metal or something.
That's right. But, yeah, you've got a man on your mind and just, you know, beefed it up, you know?
Yeah.
Track 3, Home, you mentioned the ballad. There is a weariness to that song, you know, that really comes across, a heaviness, a weariness to that vocal and lyric and everything. Tell me a little bit about that one.
Well, you know, this one, Lance, you know, there's a lot of artists that sometimes try and run away from the 80s, that they try and run away from that hair metal element that they have in their past. And, you know, they don't want to admit that they love those songs. They don't want to admit that they copped their first feel in the back of a car to it. They don't want to, you know, the power ballad is sneered upon. And we feel like we wanted to bring it back and give it proper respect. So, you know, Home is one of those songs where we just wrapped our arms around our influences and we said, hey, we're gonna write a power ballad. Lyrically, as far as that one goes, man, I sometimes just try and write lyrics in the sense of a soundtrack. And I try and step back and observe from a third point of view. And my first record that the Fifth put out, well, not the first one, but Plead, the first full length, those lyrics, you can go through it and you can tell it was me processing my divorce from the mother of my children. And you can read into it so clearly into those lyrics that people later on told me, hey, I can read that and tell that was you talking about, your marriage.
Yeah.
After that, I tried to write in a third point of view. So I try not to wrap too much emotion around the songs. I put emotion into them, but you know what I mean? I try and write it as like a third person going through this emotion and not fully explain what was the catalyst of the emotion, but just try and put that emotion into the lyrics and into the vocal performance.
Yeah. Very cool. Track 4, Come to Get You. My note here is dark. That there's a darkness to that song, and it's a contrast from like Shake Little Sisters, like this party, whereas Come to Get You had sort of to me, again, this is to my ears, a dark element to it,
Well, it's very sexual in nature. The lyrics are very, pretty cut and dry.
Yeah.
But the music does have a heavy edge to it. I felt that it had a bit of an audio slave grind to it.
Yeah.
And when it goes into that pre-chorus part and the background vocals come in, it has that eerie minor Alice in Chains vocal harmony on it that gives it that sinister sound. Right. So, Coming to Get You is turning out to be a little sleeper track for a lot of people because it does kind of stand out on the record from the rest of them.
Yeah, it was, of all of them, that was very, very different. And then track 5, of course, Roll the Bones. This was very close to being my favorite track, after Shake Little Sister. To me, it was the perfect bookend. You sort of took us on a little bit of a ride there, and this tune sort of returned it back to the beginning, sort of the Shake Little Sister vibe, a little heavier,
Right. Well, this one, if you notice, it's also mixed a little different. We tried to give it a very, a very live, bouncy, early Van Halen mix to it. And what we tried to do is we tried to put everything as up front in the mix as we could, because we did want it to end up as like the bookend on the EP, as you said. And we did want to end on an up note. And it's a very upbeat, riffy song. And, Lance, this one was a challenge for me. This one was the last song that I had to write lyrics and melodies to. And this one I wrestled for several months. I actually wrote 2 other versions of lyrics and melodies to this one. And it's one of my bad habits as a lyricist. I will literally write something to a point and then go, God, that's terrible. I hate it. And I'll start all over again. And this one was the last one that just kind of came together because it is so riffy. It was kind of hard to find a melody to weave in and out of it, to dance on top of it, but not step on the overall riff because it is moving around a lot.
Yeah, you're right on the Van Halen vibe. Now that I think of it, it's got a real Van Halen 2 kind of, production.
Exactly. Nailed it, dude. You got a great ear. That's exactly what we were kind of going for. If you hear the hi-hats are really up and crisp in the mix, it's got that real live. And this thing, that was another great thing about recording this is these guys they destroyed this in the studio. I mean, these guys are great musicians and they went in there and their performances had the same energy that a live performance would have. And that's really what you've got to do, is capture that moment. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To be able to record it. And that's hard to do sometimes.
So in the context of recording, were you able to be in the studio together, or was this recorded during any type of quarantine? You know, a lot of bands are doing it together but separate. How did this one come about as far as the recording part of it?
We were very fortunate. The recording process did get postponed due to COVID.
Yeah.
It got done in blocks. We did a session, then it got pushed back for several weeks. Then we did another little session. We ended up getting it wrapped up, but we were lucky enough that we did it all together. We were in the same room. We were able to come in and mix it together. It was an all hands on deck team effort, and I'm really super proud of it. Andy Powell did a fantastic job of engineering and co-producing it with us. Andy's done all the other previous fifth releases at his studio, Digital Wave, in downtown Fayetteville. So, man, we're just one little blip on the screen, but we're rocking as hard as we can.
Very much, yeah, very much so. How about any type of live dates, touring? I'm watching my Facebook page. It seems like every day I'm seeing tours canceled, tours postponed, places shut down. Been able to put anything together at all?
Well, Lance, I don't want to go down a rabbit hole that I'm sure that you've seen plenty of dialogue and conversation about on social media and on the news. What I don't think a lot of people realize is the entertainment industry, especially the live entertainment industry and small venues throughout the country, this has gutted them. I mean, I personally know 3 venues in North Carolina between Raleigh and Fayetteville that have closed down because of this. And these are the nuts and bolts. These are these small, medium clubs that these mid and national bands pick up these middle of the week tour dates I mean, it's sad to watch. It's sad to watch something that we love so much, which is going out to see live entertainment and live music. It's sad to see it get slowly but surely taken away from us, and then we think it's coming back, and then it's taken away again.
Yeah.
To answer your question, we are making some contacts with some agents. We are trying to get some shows booked, but due to COVID, it's hard to route a tour together, because if you're going from state to state to state, you don't know what the COVID restrictions are. You don't know if it's a hot spot. You don't know if they have, capacity limitations. It puts difficulties on the promoters. It puts difficulties on the club owners. It puts difficulties on the agents, the bands. I mean, it's a domino reciprocal effect.
Right.
And, man, I'm telling you, it's a lot of artists and a lot of small business owners are hurting out there in the rock and roll world.
Yeah, let's hope it ends soon, and we can get back to normal. I'm not going to hold my breath, but we got to have hope. We need rock and roll. That's what you guys are there for. It's fun to record an album and write and produce and do stuff, but in the end all be all, you want to go out and play live, and we want to see you guys live,
Yeah, you want that live connection with the audience. You want to, take the pictures and shake the hands and take the photos and have that connection, and that's being taken away, and it's really, really tough to see. But I mean, not to open up a can of worms, I think you can agree on this. The human species has proven not to be the smartest, and we're definitely kind of showing that in this pandemic. It's been disappointing to see. It's been I was talking to a friend of mine earlier, and it was almost it was almost, especially here in the United States, it was almost like there were times that I went into an outer body experience where I hovered above my body and I floated above the country, and I just looked down and I went, how can we be this stupid?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So
Right.
it's been a trying, testing time. So
Definitely.
yeah, we're all hoping for the best.
Yeah. Want to take you back in time a little bit. I always like to research the artists and see what they did prior. I read you started singing at 15 in bands. You cut your teeth in bars. You had a #1 song on a local radio station down there when you were 16 years old with a band called Gibraltar.
Yeah.
How did you get started singing? Was it just something that what led you? Where was the turning point in your life where you said, okay, I'm going to be a singer?
It all happened by accident and by happenstance. I didn't even realize that in my father's side of the family and his lineage, they had musicality. They sang, they had a gospel bluegrass bands and stuff like that. So even though music was not pushed into my life, I stumbled upon it by being friends with everybody in like junior high and high school. And at that age, I was playing football. I was heavily into sports. And I had a buddy of mine that had a little rock and roll band that practiced one neighborhood over. And I just one day rode my bike over there and, they were jamming. And I remember Van Halen 1 was that record that really touched me. You know what I mean? It was that record that I knew backwards and forwards. And the singer, they were trying to do You Really Got Me. And the singer was just, he didn't have the cadence. He didn't have the rhythm. And, I was a cocky little fucker. I was playing football and nobody could tell me fucking shit,
Right.
And, I was like, hey, you're kind of doing that wrong. And he goes, oh yeah. Well, you think you can do better? And I went, yeah. And they handed me the fucking mic and I'll be goddamn, I did better. And they fired him that day and hired me. and, I go home and I'm like, Mom, Dad, I think I'm singing in a band. And my mom goes off on a tirade about the hell no, and you're going to college, you're playing football, da 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 da. My dad quietly, as always, got up, went down the hallway, went into his bedroom. I heard him go through the closet. He comes walking down the hallway and he puts a record on the kitchen table, and it was the Cathey trio, and it was his two brothers. And he goes, "This is where you got that from."
Wow. And you had no idea until that moment?
I had no idea till that moment. And
Wow.
From that moment on, my father was 100% behind me in my music. He managed my band Gibraltar. He drove the truck. I had a great bond with my dad. And, probably one of the proudest moments of my life was when the tour bus come and picked me up when I got the Cold Sweat gig, and I moved out to Los Angeles and everything. And I flew back when we started our tour, doing a club tour, opening for Sabotage. The tour bus came and picked me up in my front yard, and to see my mom and dad see me off as I climb on the big tour bus, watching all the neighbors that sneered at us for years because all these long-haired, leather jacket wearing boys were coming and going at all hours of the morning and night. So yeah, I was very blessed to have parents that supported me in my music. So
very cool. I think of you as I was researching you. I want to call you the man of 1,000 voices. I was looking at some of the stuff that you've done, with Cold Sweat. I saw you doing some Queen covers on YouTube that were killer. I saw you doing High Wire live. What much do I know here? At the Kelly Holland Memorial Show in Raleigh a year or two ago. I mean, you freaking slayed it. I saw you doing, what was it, Children of the Sea? My Lord, man, is there anything you can't sing?
Well, I appreciate that very much. I have cut my teeth, growing up in the 80s, bands, you sang your idols. And that's how I learned how to sing, is I tried to emulate my heroes. And through the years, I'm a self-taught singer, and through trial and error, and through, learning how to sing through the slow Tuesday, Wednesday nights to make it to the big money Thursday, Friday, Saturdays, you learn or you die. but I have a very broad range. I have a lot of different influences, a lot of stuff that people wouldn't know of me. And I like to sing, and I like to be challenged vocally.
Did
I
you
also,
ever
I
go
also
ahead? I'm
sing,
sorry.
I also sing in a Boston tribute band that's based out of Phoenix, Arizona. I don't post too much about that
Wow.
online, but
Very
so yeah, I even do that kind of stuff.
wow. Did you ever do vocal lessons or anything like that, or is this all just natural God-given talent?
This is all natural God-given talent. This is all natural trial and error. This is all, learning, of course, I've picked up little bits and pieces along the way from, every source that I could get. But as far as having a full-blown vocal lesson by somebody, no, I've always,
Wow.
I've kind of done it on my own.
That's amazing. Amazing. I've got to ask you about Cold Sweat touring with Ronnie James Dio. I mean, he's just, one of my all-time heroes. I saw him on the Sacred Heart tour. To this day, still the greatest show I've ever freaking been to. Give me a little insight into
Well,
Ronnie, the person.
I mean, all I could say is, not a whole lot of people have the opportunity to say that they became friends with one of their idols.
Yeah.
And I was lucky enough through the entire Cold Sweat experience. We were managed by Wendy Dio, and that, of course, put me in close proximity to Ronnie. And one of the craziest moments of my life is when Ronnie, when Cold Sweat played our first show at the Roxy in LA. It was kind of like my debut, and every singer in LA that tried out for the gig was there, and Ronnie was out there. And when we finished our set, to have Ronnie Dio come up to me and say, you got a hell of a voice on you, young man.
Wow.
Was, you could have killed me right there. I could have died,
That is validation.
Yeah, but I was a fan. I had this Sacred Heart, everything that Ronnie put out, I had. I used to go see him in concert in Charlotte whenever he would come. I saw him here in Fayetteville before. I mean, I was a fan, and to be able to tour with him and become close with him and stand on the side of the stage for 6 months and take all that in. And I had some personal, moments with Ronnie, I mean, my favorite Ronnie story would have to be when we were about to go on tour. And he was about to go out on the Lock Up the Wolves tour, and we were supposed to do several months with him. And of course, we were in the same rehearsal facility because we were managed by the same company. Ronnie was in the big, huge room, and Cold Sweat was in the teeny tiny small room.
Sure.
So everybody, it was very workmanlike. You started in the early mornings, you did your thing, and everybody was taking a break for lunch, and I was left there by myself, and I was in the lounge. And little did I know, Ronnie was there by himself, and he comes walking around the corner. He's, Rory, how are you? And I'm like, hey, Ronnie, what's going on? And he goes, so everybody's on lunch. Yeah, he goes, well, come on into the room. Let's hang out. Let's talk. And I'm like, you got to act cool. You know what I mean?
Right.
You can't act all fanboy the whole time. You know what
exactly,
I mean? I'm supposed to act, respectful, of course, but you can't be all goo goo gaga. So I walk into the rehearsal room, and we're sitting and we're just talking and bullshitting. And he's talking about how, they're getting ready. And he shows me the song list, and he walks over to his music stand, and he pulls out a joint, and he fires it up, and we're going through the song list, and he passes the joint to me, and I take a couple pulls off of it and pass it back to him, and we're talking about the fucking weather and the tour and how many weeks we got going on before we leave. And I'm sitting there in the back of my mind thinking, I'm smoking a joint with Ronnie James Dio. I am smoking a joint with Ronnie James Dio.
Oh, that is great.
And I'll never forget that moment, and he was such a great man. If he met you once and learned your name, if you introduced you and he learned you by name, he would literally see you years later and remember your name. He was uncanny about how he was able to remember people's names. And after meeting the tens of thousands of fans he did through the years, he was pretty fantastic about his memory with fans.
I heard you tell a story in an interview about a guitar tech who turned bus driver, who was
Yes,
standing
Chris
side
Correct.
stage at Sabbath,
Yes.
and Ronnie
Yeah.
came over during a solo and said, "Hey, you know."
Chris, yes,
Yeah.
true freaking story, man.
Yeah.
I mean, true to life story.
That's amazing.
That was Ronnie, and but hey, I will say Chris was a very unique character. I mean,
Sure.
he was he looked like Samuel L. Jackson. He dressed like a biker, and he was a black dude, and he looked like Samuel L. Jackson, and he wore biker jewelry and leather jackets, but he was a tour bus driver, and he always loved rock and roll. So he was quite a character. So he was easy, you can't forget Chris, but still, a lot of people will tell you that Ronnie had an incredible memory for people when he met him.
I got to ask you, Lock Up the Wolves tour, that's when he had Rowan Atkinson, who was like 15, 16 years old at the time. What kind of impression did he make on you? Did you meet him much, or?
Did I meet him much? He was my freaking roommate. The bastard turned me on to tea and bagels and shit like that. No, actually, a little, Roy Cathey trivia. Back in that era, myself, Eric Gammons, the guitar player for Cold Sweat, Rowan Robertson.
Robertson. Sorry, yes.
Rowan Robertson.
Rowan Atkinson is Mr. Bean, correct?
Yeah. Rowan Robertson. We all shared a house. Need You Management rented us a house, and it was me, Rowan, Eric, and a cat named Sean Manning, another young British guitar player who was actually playing in a band with Kevin DuBrow.
Wow.
So yeah, it was quite the animal house full of a bunch of musicians, and there was a pool in the backyard. But Rowan, me and him are still friends to this day. Super sweet kid, incredible player. He did a fantastic job under a lot of pressure because
he was young.
To be 16 years old, 16, 17 years old, and to be thrown into the meat grinder, I mean, it was tough.
Yeah, I just want to toss that Rowan Robertson. How did I get him screwed? I got my Rowans mixed up. What I gotta say. You mentioned Eric Gammons. I got to bring this up just briefly because my daughter is a huge Grey's Anatomy fan. He got you guys a fifth song placed in a little commercial bump for Grey's Anatomy. That must have been pretty cool.
Wow, Lance, you have done your research, my friend.
Yeah, I can even tell you the episode. It was in the midnight hour.
Holy shit, man! You know more than I do. That's fantastic. Yes. Eric Gammons has he got us a Grey's Anatomy slot. He also got us a slot for what was it? The Voice. He got us a commercial in The Voice. He got us a couple of Olympics commercials. Lots of UFC spots. So Eric, my buddy, has been helping me out. He's got his music placement thing, and he'll grab some fifth music and spread the love wherever he can. So yeah, it was definitely cool to be able to add that little feather in our cap that we got that placement.
Absolutely. So going forward, you've just finished up the video for Shake Little Sister. You're hoping to line up some dates. Anything else happening in the world of the fifth?
Man, right now, our main goal is getting this thing on the road and promote this record as much as we can. We are going to continue the writing process. Justin has already started to share some new riffs with everybody, and it sounded nice and tasty. So, our goal is to promote, write during the whole time, and hopefully, keep things going, coinciding in the same direction. So,
cool.
Hopefully 2022 we'll start getting some dates, and things will start getting more on the regular as far as the live shows, and hopefully by mid 2022 we can be getting into the studio for a full length. So cool. That's the general plan right now.
Awesome. Roy, I always like to wind up with some fun questions. I'm hoping these are questions you've never been asked before. Sound good?
Sounds great, Lance. Let's do it.
What is an item that someone would be surprised that is essential for you to pack in your travel bag when you leave, other than the obvious, mics, cables, stuff like that? What's something somebody would be surprised they would find in your travel bag?
I take a portable humidifier with me
Okay.
for my hotel room. I'm one of those wonky singers that really tries to take care of his voice in every way.
Yep.
So I have this little portable humidifier that I travel with.
Excellent. Favorite toy growing up as a child?
I would have to go with my Evel Knievel.
Okay.
I had the entire line of Evel Knievel, all the accessories, everything. But I was a destructive little bastard, and I destroyed all of it. I was the kid that would like climb on top of the house and get like right to where the peak of the house was, and like do the and have him evil go off the entire roof. Yeah, so I would say it would be my Evel Knievel collection that would probably be worth thousands if I still had it, but I destroyed it.
Very cool. Favorite old school wrestler?
Oh man, now you're talking my language. Now, I mean, I don't know if you don't do the.
Oh, yeah, I just turned heel. Yeah, there you go.
I am a huge, and so is Justin, my guitarist, huge wrestling fans.
All right.
I literally grew up ringside, watching the classic NWA matches with the
Yes.
and I mean, just the stories I could tell you, that could be a whole other episode.
We're doing it.
I am a huge, and still to this day, I'm a huge AEW mark right now. I'm totally into AEW.
Yes.
So I would have to say that's a tough one. But I'd have to go with Ric Flair.
I was gonna say, if you're from Carolina, you got to go Ric Flair.
I got to, but I got to give a real lean to Dusty Rhodes.
Oh yeah.
I would have to split those two down the middle. As far as like charisma, working the mic, those guys, you can't get any better. But overall, it would have to be Ric Flair because he is legendary. If you look back into his career and the schedule that guy wrestled, and the amount of booze that he drank, and the amount of women that he banged, the guy's a legend. I mean, Truth. He is a fucking legend.
He has been my idol since I first, 1981, I discovered Georgia Championship Wrestling. I used to watch it. And I'll tell you, I used to tape his monologues that he would do. He'd go out and talk for 5 minutes,
Oh, yeah.
And I had my little portable tape, cassette tape recorder. I put it by the TV and record them. And my senior year, I reworked them for our high school soccer team.
Oh, yeah.
And they were going to the championship game. And I went on the school intercom system. And it's like, you take all the kids in the classroom, you line them all up, you ask them, what do they want to be? I want to be on the Hazen soccer team. And I mean, they just went nuts. At the end of the promo, one of his lines was, I forget who he was talking about, but he says, at the end of the match, you're going to look me in the eye and say, Rick, I've had enough. I'm sorry. I tried.
Yeah.
And that was the line I ended with. We're going to go into this game. At the end of the game, the team's going to look at us and they're going to say, look, Hazen, we've had enough. We're sorry. We tried. And
yeah,
nuts.
Man. It's, a great story is growing up as a kid, I had 4 stepsisters, and there were always a gaggle of boys trying to go out on dates with them and get in good with my parents. Well, one of the things that they would do is they would pick me up and say that they were going to the wrestling matches at the arena. Well, they would go to the wrestling matches. They would buy me ringside, and then they would get the nosebleed, and they would make out up in the bleachers. And they would put me at 10 years old down front row. I witnessed a Texas death match between Captain Redneck Dick Murdoch and Dusty Rhodes. Oh. I came home literally with Dusty Rhodes' blood on my T-shirt one night. It was like I've been a fan ever since, man.
Absolutely.
Color me guilty.
We are going to chat sometime about that.
Absolutely.
First car you bought with your own money.
First car. God, let me think for a second. A Hyundai Scoop.
Wow. That is
turbo. A Hyundai Scoop turbo.
Okay, turbo. There you go. All right. Favorite candy bar?
I gotta go with Milky Way.
All right. Um, if you could speak any language instantly, what language would you pick?
Japanese.
Japanese.
Yeah.
Let's see. Okay. Favorite topping for your pizza?
Pepperoni.
Pepperoni.
It's
All
just,
right. Last one, and this is the one we have the most fun with. If they were to make a biopic of your life, what actor would you pick to play you? And it's your life, your movie. You can pick anybody.
to play me.
Yeah. It's a biopic of the Roy, it's the Roy Cathey story.
So it'd have to kind of look like me or something like that.
Well, you can indulge.
I can indulge. Geez. How about Jason Momoa? Yeah, I'll be him. I'll be because on the Monsters of Rock cruise, we were in like, I think Cozumel or something. We were doing like some touristy thing where they took photos, right? My girlfriend sends me to go pick up the photos at the little booth thing, and it's got all the locals working there. And I've got my sunglasses on, and I've got my hair up in the the knot thing and everything. And the local guy behind the counter, he goes, he's Mexican, of course, and he's like, "Excuse me, sir," and I'm like, "Yes," and he goes, "I mean you no respect." He goes, "I mean you all respect." He goes, "But tell me, are you the Aquaman?" I said, "Yes, I am the Aquaman."
Oh, that is fabulous. Oh, we're chatting with Roy Cathey here, lead vocalist for the Fayetteville, North Carolina band, The Fifth. Their EP is out now on Vanity Music Group. Where can we get it, Roy? Do you guys sell it yourselves? I'd like to point people there.
Right now it's available at vanitymusic.com. If you look up Vanity Music on Google, you can track it down, Vanity Music The Fifth. It's also available on all the streaming sites, and right now it's in the lost distribution supply chain somewhere. We are actually supposed to have actual products in some of the smaller retail stores and stuff, so we're trying to get it into the mom and pop stores, and really try and support that really crucial vein of the music listener.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, I mean, it's out there. Just look us up.
All right. Roy, this has been a blast. Is there anything we didn't talk about, anything we didn't touch on? I know you just started writing a book as well, right?
Yeah, I've been talking about doing it for a very long time, and I have a friend of mine that published a book of his own, and it kind of motivated me. And also my good friend Mark Ferrari, he's published a book. So it's been an interesting life, Lance. I mean, between being a frontman for a rock band and a strip club DJ my entire life, I've seen some things.
You've seen it all.
So, I mean, I put off doing this because I wanted to wait till my kids got older. And
Sure.
Now that they're 18 and 21, I feel like I could tell these RX-rated stories, and kind of just let it all hang out. It's been an interesting ride, and I'm still going. So I kind of feel like I'm Andy Dufresne in the Shawshank Redemption. Anybody that can work 20 years in the strip club business and his entire life in the rock and roll business and come out, clean, no rehab, I have been divorced. I have been divorced twice, but no rehab, no drug habits, no
That's
arrest.
a testament.
Yeah. Well, I was arrested once for a gun at the airport, but that's a whole other episode.
and even with your 2 divorces, you're far behind Ric Flair.
Yeah, no doubt, right? Yeah, and my liver is fucking killer.
All right, Roy, was there anything we didn't touch on that I might have missed along with this?
Lance, it's been a blast. I would like to talk to you some more about pro wrestling because I am a huge fan. So
We will do that again next time.
Absolutely. It's been a pleasure.
Take care and enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thank you, brother.
Bye-bye.